The night air around the runway trembled with tension long before the engines ever started. Floodlights painted the tarmac in harsh white beams, turning every moving shadow into something sharp and urgent. A cold wind rolled across the open field, rattling loose equipment and tugging at jackets, but no one seemed to notice. Every person on the ground moved with the same controlled urgency, like a machine that had been wound to tight. In the distance, the dark outline of the aircraft waited beneath the light, silent, powerful, and dangerous. Tonight it wasn't just another mission. Tonight something big was about to happen. The radio cracked to life. Code acknowledged. Standing by for launch. Those words rippled across the crew like electricity. Immediately the ground commander's voice thundered. Over the comms. Ground crew, secure the perimeter immediately. I want those vehicles in place 5 minutes ago. Let's move. Men and women in reflective vests broke into motion. Trucks rolled across the tarmac. Fuel carts rattled into position. A pair of technicians hurried toward the aircraft's belly, pushing a heavy equipment cart between them. The aircraft itself, sleek, gray, and deadly, sat under the floodlights like a sleeping predator. Its wings stretched wide, and its engines gleamed with silent promise. Technicians. The commander continued, move the carts under the fuselage. Jones. Start your checks on the starboard gear now. Copy that, came the reply. Jones slid beneath the wing, flashlight already in his mouth, tools clinking softly in his belt. He inspected the landing gear with practiced hands, checking bolts, hydraulics, and pressure lines. Every motion was precise. Every step followed a routine burned into memory after years of work. But tonight even the routine carried weight. Everyone knew it. Over the central communication channel, another voice spoke calmly. The voice of someone used to command. Sequence initiated. All teams confirm green status on your stations. We are running a hot start. Maintain communications discipline and report any discrepancies immediately. Around the aircraft, confirmations started rolling in. Fuel cart ready. Electrical systems connected. Hydraulics green. Starboard gear check complete. The commander didn't waste a second. Go, go, go. Move it. The ground crew surged again. One technician climbed a ladder to the cockpit hatch while another guided the final cable into place. Inside the aircraft, the cockpit glowed with soft amber light. Panels filled with switches, gauges, and digital displays surrounded the two pilots like the control room of a small spaceship. Captain Marcus Hale sat in the left seat, his hands resting lightly on the controls. His eyes scanned the instrument panel with calm focus. Years of flying had carved patience into him. Next to him, First Officer Daniel Davis adjusted his headset and began running through the startup checklist. Battery on, Davis said. Battery on, Hale confirmed. Auxiliary power unit starting. A low whine began somewhere behind them, slowly rising in pitch. Outside, the crew stepped back as the aircraft started to wake up. APU stable, Davis reported. Initiating engine start sequence. The cockpit vibrated slightly as the first engine turned over. A deep mechanical rumble rolled through the aircraft, growing stronger with every second. On the tarmac, technicians watched the engine intake carefully while the turbine blades began spinning faster and faster until the roar finally stabilized into a steady thunder. Engine 1 online, Davis said. Engine 2, Hale replied. Moments later, the second engine ignited, sending a hot gust of exhaust across the runway. The aircraft was alive now. Sequence complete, Davis announced. All systems reading green. Outside, the ground commander stepped back and gave a quick hand signal. The cables were pulled away. The carts were cleared. Within seconds, the aircraft stood alone on the runway, humming with contained power. Inside the cockpit, Hale glanced at Davis. Looks like we're good. Davis nodded. Everything checks out. The radio came alive again. Eagle 1, you are clear for taxi. Maintain separation distance. Hale gently pushed the throttle forward. The aircraft rolled slowly across the tarmac, its wheels humming against the pavement. Floodlights passed by the cockpit windows as they moved toward the runway threshold. Set. Takeoff power, Hale said calmly. Power set, Davis replied, his eyes locked on the engine gauges. Bleeds closed. Packs off. The aircraft reached the runway and paused for only a moment. Then Hale pushed the throttle all the way forward. The engines roared. The aircraft surged down the runway like a bullet released from a gun. The ground blurred beneath them as speed climbed higher and higher. 80 knots. Check. 120. Check. Rotate. Hale pulled back gently on the control stick. The nose lifted. The wheels left the ground. For a moment there was nothing but darkness beneath them. Positive climb rate, Davis said. Gear up. The landing gear folded smoothly into the aircraft's belly. Gear retraction complete. Davis confirmed. Positive climb established. Below them, The runway lights shrank quickly into tiny glowing lines. The aircraft climbed higher and higher into the night sky. "Roger that," Hale said, engaging autopilot. He pressed a switch, and the aircraft settled into a smooth climb. "Climbing to flight level 300, Davis said, adjusting the navigation panel. "Fuel flow parameters adjusting now." The instruments flickered as the systems balanced themselves. "Thrust stabilizing," Davis added. The aircraft pierced through thin clouds and continued rising into the darkness above. Minutes passed in steady silence except for the constant hum of the engines. "The mission had officially begun," Hale said quietly. "Confirm alignment parameters." Davis studied the navigation display carefully. Parameters locked. The glowing map on the screen showed their route stretching across the sky like an invisible highway. "Captain," Davis continued. "Descent scheduled later to flight level to 90 for the approach. Course correction to heading 0 for 9 will bring us into the corridor." "Confirmed," Hale said. The radio chimed again. "Falcon to 9. You are clear for the high-altitude corridor." "Copy that, Center," Hale replied. Proceeding to waypoint, the aircraft cut through the sky with effortless speed. The stars outside looked sharp and bright above the thin layer of atmosphere. For a while, everything felt routine. But then the aircraft trembled slightly. "Sir," Davis said, adjusting his headset, "we're experiencing slight turbulence." Hale kept his eyes forward. "Adjust throttle settings." "Adjusting now." The aircraft shuddered again before stabilizing. "Roger," Hale said. "Maintain visual on the lead craft. Far ahead." Another aircraft's faint lights blinked in the darkness. They were not alone up here. Suddenly the command channel crackled loudly. "Sierra Bravo Charlie. This is command. Be advised, enemy movement detected at grid reference to 49er." Hale and Davis exchanged a quick glance. "Adjusting course." "Now," Davis said. The navigation system updated instantly, drawing a new line across the display. "Boundary crossed," Hale said quietly as they approached the operational zone. "Weapon systems check." Davis flipped a series of guarded switches. Systems coming online. Panels lit up across the cockpit as targeting systems awakened. "Weapon systems check complete," Davis reported. "Engagement protocols ready." "Confirmed," Hale replied. Outside the cockpit windows, the sky looked darker now. The aircraft was entering a region where nothing existed except open air and quiet danger. Davis moved his hand across the fuel panel. "Toggling fuel transfer switches." "Confirmed," Hale said. "System shows green," Davis continued. "Maintaining speed to 90. The aircraft roared forward, cutting through the darkness like a ghost. "Monitor radar sweep," Hale said. "Wilco." Davis leaned closer to the radar display. A rotating line swept across the screen again and again, painting the surrounding airspace in glowing shapes. "Captain," Davis said after a moment. "All parameters green," but then his eyes narrowed. "Cross-check shows we're to degrees. Off course." Hale reacted instantly. "Adjusting now." He nudged the controls slightly. "Readjustment confirmed," Davis said. "Systems holding green." The radar screen began to show faint shapes in the distance. "Approaching target zone," Davis said quietly. Hale's grip tightened slightly on the controls. "Check right." Davis continued. "I have the pass marked." "Got it," Hale said. "Braking right now." The aircraft banked sharply, its wings slicing through the air as they changed direction. "Watch the altitude," Davis warned. Hale nodded. "Spoilers deployed," Davis said as the aircraft began its tactical descent. The nose tilted downward. Air rushed louder around the fuselage as their speed shifted. "Airspeed bleeding rapidly," Davis reported. "Turbulence increasing." The aircraft shook harder now as invisible currents pushed against it. Warning lights flickered briefly across the console. Then Davis's voice changed. Heat. Something on the radar had just appeared, and whatever it was moving fast.